Recently, Ukraine said it struck a Russian airbase on Saturday, while Russia continued to pound Ukraine with hundreds of drones overnight as part of a stepped-up bombing campaign that has dashed hopes for a breakthrough in efforts to end the more than 3-year-old war. Ukraine's military general staff said that Ukrainian forces had struck the Borysoglebsk air base in Russia's Voronezh region, describing it as the home base of Russia's Su-34, Su-35S and Su-30SM fighter jets. So, Kyiv, that is carrying out special operations against Moscow week after week. The Security Service of Ukraine said the operation targeting the Kerch Bridge was planned over several months and used the equivalent of more than a metric ton of TNT. The SBU published video footage of the blast, likely signaling that they also had access to CCTV cameras on the bridge. The SBU conducted a new, unique special operation and struck the Crimean Bridge for the third time, this time underwater, wrote the intelligence services on their Telegram channel. Vasyl Maliuk, the head of the SBU, said the Kerch Bridge serves as a logistical artery to supply Moscow's invading army in Ukraine, according to the Kyiv Post. The bridge, throughout the full-scale invasion, has been an important source for Russian logistics. Trains crossing the bridge reportedly carrying weapons, vehicles and fuel. After all, Crimea was one of the main launching points for Russia's attack in February 2022. Recently, Ukraine has carried out a devastating strike on the only bridge connecting Russia and the occupied province of Crimea, severing the vital supply line for President Vladimir Putin's forces, Ukraine's security service announced. We previously struck the Crimean Bridge twice, in 2022 and 2023, so today we continued this tradition, this time underwater, Maliuk said. The bridge, which serves both a practical and a symbolic role for Russia, is a completely legitimate target, since it is used by Russia as a logistical artery to supply its troops fighting in mainland Ukraine, Maliuk added. Built after Russia's illegal annexation of Crimea in 2014, the bridge was officially opened by Putin in 2018 at a cost of around $3.7 billion. John Sweet, a former U.S. Army intelligence officer, said, "From Crimea, Russia can exert influence throughout the entirety of the Black Sea region. Retention of the peninsula, therefore, is essential. The Kerch Strait Bridge is the logistical lifeline between Russian forces occupying and defending Crimea and the Russian mainland. Moscow has significantly improved its defenses with underwater barriers and advanced air defense systems to protect the structure from Ukrainian strikes." Ukrainian Navy Commander Oleksiy Nizpapa noted that Russia built a multi-layered defense system, making it challenging for sea drones to get closer to the bridge. Ukraine can destroy the bridge with naval drones. Ukraine has been developing underwater drones since 2023, including the Toloka TLK-150, a compact, uncrewed vehicle that operates near the surface. However, it was rumored that the recent attack on the Crimean Bridge was carried out using Ukraine's underwater drone Marichka, which is a 6-meter-long, multi-purpose strike drone that can travel up to 1,000 kilometers. Now the final piece to Ukraine's puzzle may be the Taurus missiles, with previous chatter around that Kyiv could soon receive them from Germany, the Kyiv Post says. These long-range, bunker-busting cruise missiles are designed to penetrate hardened targets, making them ideal for striking reinforced infrastructure like the Kerch Bridge. Their precision and destructive power could allow Ukraine to deliver heavy enough damage to disable the bridge for a long time. Russians should not hope for the occupation of Kherson, not to mention Kyiv, Odessa or Transnistria. The disintegration of the Russian armed forces is in full swing. The situation is very explosive. This frank statement was made by the Russian angry patriot Z-blogger Maxim Kalashnikov. In one of his latest blogs, Kalashnikov admitted that the Russian troops are in a deep crisis. According to him, it is pointless to talk about an offensive on Kherson or about forcing the Dnieper now. What Kherson? What Transnistria? What forcing of the Dnieper? Guys, you know the troops are very exhausted. Very unpleasant processes are happening there in the relations between officers and privates. I just won't make it public now, but there is a very large flow of information, bad information. Kalashnikov said, these words sound especially telling against the backdrop of constant propaganda about the successes of the Russian army and attempts to impose on society the illusion of control over the situation. Even if figures like Kalashnikov begin to talk about internal problems, it means the situation at the front is much worse than they are trying to present in the official agenda. The mention of unpleasant processes between commanders and personnel hints at a deep split within the army system. It is about demoralization, loss of discipline, conflicts, and a drop in morale. All this is a direct consequence of a protracted war, endless losses, and the lack of a clear goal. Earlier, Z-Patriot is worried about the future of the Russian Federation. He expects that the Russian Federation will repeat the fate of the disappeared Russian Empire and the USSR. Kalashnikov compared the current stage of the war with previous crisis moments for Russia. For example, with the halt of the offensive at the beginning of the SVO and the loss of the cruiser Moskva, with the flight of the Russian army from Kherson and Izium, as well as with the Prigozhin mutiny. However, now, according to Kalashnikov, the main threat is not the front, but the worsening economic crisis inside the country. We are facing a dangerous economic crisis. A protracted war is a terrible disaster that is fraught with economic collapse, even inevitably leading to it. Our own economy has fallen into the millstones. The Ukrainian economy receives a lot of support from Western allies, but we do not have such support. I believe that the crisis will be very, very strong. This can really undermine both the economy and political stability, Kalashnikov said.